Well, here are the new tires. I think they look pretty good. A little bit more light today, a little less rain. Seem to be holding air. Today we're going to try to start addressing some of the front suspension. Some of the slop in the steering. My pins haven't come in for the front suspension yet, but I noticed, let's see if I can get to do it. Probably it's not going to be as obvious when it's on the ground, but I noticed that when I had it up in the air during the last video and was checking my clearances here after I got done filming, these bottom pins are shot again. There's a lot of slop in them all the way around, and I mean, I changed those within the last 9 months, and I grease it constantly. Every time I take this thing out to Arkansas, which is, you know, most of the use it gets, I pack these things to this. You can see, I mean, there's grease coming out of everything up here, and they're still wearing out. So I've been buying the aftermarket trash, cheapo stuff, because these parts are not cheap from the factory at all. But I have broken down and ordered an entire set for the entire vehicle of factory parts for this thing. All of the ones in the back, including this pin and this pin, and all of the sleeves and bushings and all that other garbage. Ordered all of the factory stuff, because the only thing I can figure is the factory stuff, there's no way it only lasts 4 months when you buy the thing new, so it's got to be a different material. Something is going on here to cause this stuff to wear out, especially as much as I've been greasing it. So when that comes in, hopefully next week, we'll show how that all goes on. But yeah, so today we're going to try to do the front ball joints, or sorry, not front ball joints, the front tie rod ends on the steering, because they're not very good. And once we do that, I don't think I have the right parts. Son of a gun. Looking at that, I don't think those are the right parts. I think mine are actually a female thread. That's going to annoy me a little bit. Again, that's what I get for ordering non-factory parts. So the other thing I think I may do is pop these wheels off and measure the back spacing and see what difference it's going to make, and I may swap these tires over to the new ones just to get a little bit more clearance on the inside at full droop. So that's what we're going to look at today. Okay, here's my dilemma. I actually have purchased the correct parts for this Polaris, if it was stock. These are not factory parts for the steering. I want to say they're pretty good. I knew the original owner had told me he had the steering box replaced before I got it. But what I didn't realize, it looks like they replaced everything. So the stuff that I bought, I mean, granted it was aftermarket knockoff crap for the steering, isn't going to work. The interesting part is, this looks to be a rod end with a replaceable center section, if you can see that snap ring in there. So I am going to see if I can pop that snap ring out and figure out what that center section is, and maybe just buy that, because it's got a really nice setup the way this works. You know, that goes through there, that sits on there. I mean, it's a nice setup. I like it. I think it's sturdier, to be honest, than the factory stuff, but I don't know what the heck it is. So that's what I'm going to do now, is see if I can pop that off, and then that'll really be slick, because then you could change these things out without having to dork around with your actual steering geometry or steering angles or anything like that. So yeah, all right, well, that's my next thing. I'm going to get my snap ring pliers out and see if I can get that apart. Sure enough, it came right out. I'm going to see if I can find any numbers on this thing. If I can't, I'm just going to take some OD and ID in thickness and try to match it up online. See what we can do. Alright, I think I figured it out. This has the stock steering box, from what I can tell, but it has a SuperATV heavy-duty steering upgrade. That's what these parts are. And I also was able to figure out that SuperATV will sell you these for 90 bucks a pair, because they're a real screwy setup. This is an M14 by 1.5 left-hand thread. And finding that insert, that I can't do. I don't know what this is. I'm not having any luck finding that insert. I was, however, able to take some dimensions off this. It's a 3/4 bore, 1 7/16 OD with a 593 bearing thickness and a 3/4 overall thickness. This is a COM-12 spherical bearing insert, and they're about 12 bucks a piece on Amazon. So I got 2 of those on order. Now I'm going to put this thing back together so I can drive it until those come in, which should be in about a week, hopefully, maybe a little less. Then I can just spend 25 bucks to change this rather than another 90, because these aren't greasable. So I mean, if this was a greasable unit, all right, great, that's fantastic, but it's not. So these are going to wear out, and for 12 bucks a piece you can change them out yourself. So that's kind of neat. So we're going to put that back together. Alright, so the original wheels, which are here, are 6 1/4 inch offset, and the ones that he got are 4 1/4 inch offset. He went with a 2-inch move to the outside. That's going to be too much for what I want to do, or what I like. So, considering it just barely scrubs, if at all, when it's at full droop like this, I think I'm just going to keep the factory wheels for this point. Yeah. Anyway, well, that's not much of a video today, but if you've got a SuperATV steering set up on these with those rod ends that wear out, you should be able to replace them with a COM-12 bearing insert. You can find them online. Several different companies make them. QA1, Aurora, there's a bunch of different ones. But they shouldn't be more than 15 bucks a piece or so, rather than spending 90 bucks for completely new rod ends when you don't really need it if you got a pair of snap ring pliers. So as I was saying, you should be able to use a COM-12 insert on your SuperATV rod ends instead of buying the entire rod end replacement. I wish they'd make them greasable. Of course, that's probably why they don't, so they can sell those rod ends 90 bucks a set. They're probably $20 or $30 rod ends, even if you could find them, because they're an oddball with that metric stud and then the other, you know, the typical standard 1 7/16 by 3/4 insert. It's a nice kit though, I like it. So, but though, like I said, I wish these were only 1 inch different, and then I'd probably put those on, but 2 inches is just going to make it too wide. It's going to look funny. I don't think that's quite necessary. So they're going to go back in a pile. That's going to go back on, and we're going to call it a day. So anyway, I really do appreciate everybody watching these videos. I'll have a few of these things available on my Amazon affiliate, which is linked in the description. I always appreciate everyone who uses that link. It does help out the channel a little bit. So, all right, hope you all are doing well. Happy Halloween, I guess. Talk to y'all later.